Hi there, I'm Michaela with Michaela's Counseling. I recently got an interesting comment on my When Therapist and Client Disagree video saying, but what if the client can't stand to be perceived as wrong? Or what if they can't handle even a hint of disagreement? And if that issue is at play unconsciously, then how do you deal with that? Well, the map that I laid out for really repairing things in the moment in client interactions is often really a different experience for somebody who is running into a lot of defensiveness in their lives. And so, one thing that happens if I hold the view of, I'm right and you're wrong, is that other people tend to get defensive as well. And so, if I'm working with a client who's in a mode where they feel like they have to defend their rightness, then they're going to be getting defensive, and other people in their lives are going to be digging in their heels, and it's going to be creating a lot of conflict. So, just by doing something different and by being really curious about the disagreement, they might get a different experience. In fact, I've had clients tell me that they had been very black and white and very set on being right, and by working with somebody who really was able to show them something different, somebody who was really, really interested in what was going on their side. So, for example, in sessions, I'm wrong often. Not always, not most of the time, but there are moments where I get it wrong. And there are moments in every relationship that we're in that if we really look at it, we're miscalibrated to the other person or we miss something important. And so by me modeling that I am sometimes wrong and I'm okay with that, and I'm curious about that, and I want to acknowledge that, sometimes clients get a different model of how that works. And so they start taking that in and going, oh, well, Michaela can be wrong with me. And so maybe I can be wrong. Maybe I can be openly wrong with people. So that's one thing. Another thing that can be going on when somebody's afraid of ever being wrong or encountering disagreement is that they're actually dealing with an issue of like toxic shame inside. And if we have shame, then we can't stand to be wrong. We get perfectionistic, we get defensive, we do all these things to try to hide that we feel like horrible people. And so, if I don't have a sense of shame running my life, I'm curious about it if I was wrong, because then that's interesting information. It gives me an area where I can grow in my communication or in my life. But if I'm dealing with a sense of shame, then I don't have that kind of flexibility. And so, usually in working with clients, if there is a fear of disagreement, actually, fear of disagreement and fear of being seen as wrong are, I think, two different things. I think the person who remarked was talking about a fear of somebody else perceiving them as wrong. So I'll address that one for now. Where was I going with that? If I have a sense of shame, then I can't stand to be perceived as incorrect, and I'm going to defend my viewpoints. So usually in the course of counseling, that's going to come out in the kind of approach that I use, because I tend to really want to spend some time with those moments where there was a disagreement or where there was miscalibration. And if a client seems really riled or they're really, really defending their point, I'm going to want to understand more about it. And if it keeps happening that whenever there's mild disagreement, they get really triggered and they start kind of spinning, or they start really struggling in the conversation, then it's something that I'm actually going to focus on, like the meta process more than the disagreement. And often people will be able to say, what I'm realizing is I'm just so scared that you'll see me as wrong. And then we get to work directly on that. Now, another thing that occurred to me that this replier might be remarking on is something more like a narcissistic kind of way of coping with the world, where I'm right, everybody else is wrong, and, if it's my way or the highway. Those folks usually aren't in therapy because they're not actually seeking to revise how their relationships are working or how their perspective of the world is. And so if you're talking about somebody who's coming into therapy to prove that they're right, I would wonder why they were in counseling. And so I'm not quite sure if the kind of situation you're talking about is is a person that's just committed to being right, why they would be in therapy. Usually I think folks like that might come in if a partner kind of twists their arm, but they usually don't last in therapy for very long, and that's a whole nother field, the narcissism thing that I'm getting more information about lately. But I'm talking mostly about people who are coming into counseling, really want to change something. They know that there's something that's not working in their world. They usually know there's something not working in their relationships. And that's why it's so informative to really take our time with those moments of disagreement or miscalibration or defensiveness and really, really notice what's happening on both sides, because that's an opportunity that we just don't get very often out in the world. People don't usually stop us to compassionately deconstruct however it is that we just missed each other in a conversation. I think it's one of the rare gifts of therapy. And so my clients and I generally capitalize on that. Comment again, commenter, if you've got another question or follow up to this. And I really appreciate comments. They often form the basis of a new video. One comment I need to make in regard to comments is that occasionally somebody will make a remark, and I think you might be posting from Google Plus or have some sort of username that actually makes it impossible for me to reply to your comment. So I've got two options there. I've got three. I can make a video to reply to your comment. I can just let your comment stand and not reply, or I can delete it. The only reason I would delete your comment is A, I can't respond to it, and B, you're saying something that is that's diminishing to people who might be watching this video for hope or for help or something like that. So if you comment, hi Michaela, these situations are hopeless and these people are worthless, I'm gonna delete it because I can't follow on to it there, and I just can't let that comment stand. I really want this channel to be a safe space and a place where people can dialogue and a place where people can have questions. So please comment and ask away. But if you say something really hopeless sounding and I can't reply, I'm going to delete you in that case. All right. Thank you. This is Michaela with Michaela's Counseling. Subscribe to my channel if you'd like more videos like this. Thank you.